Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Door to Door. This is our 30,000th episode. I'm kidding.
Like Doctor Who.
Right.
I think it's 30,001, but who's keeping track?
Oh my goodness. Well, as you know, most times we interview an author, and we have a great episode lined up next week. We're going to talk to Laura Lippman and Kate White. That's going to be super cool. That's next Tuesday. We'll put some information up about that. But yeah, we also love when the three of us can just sit back, smoke a cigar, and talk books or something. So that's what we're doing today. We're just going to talk about some books. And so, hi, we hope you're well. And you know what? We'd love to hear what you're reading. So don't be shy, chime in. So Lainey, you want to talk about like why we picked these particular books?
Yeah, so sometimes people write in and ask about galleys that are in or not in, and we tell them about books that, we whet your appetite, and then we don't really have the physical galley for you yet. But we wanted to talk about some books that are hot off the press. We have a few galleys, so, interact with us and we'll get you some books. It'll be exciting. And then we have a few highlighted that are new eGalleys that are really new, just on Edelweiss and NetGalley. So it's just kind of a guess what's coming and see the new stuff. You're the insider look. Not that you wouldn't see that before, but it's exciting.
Yes, and if anybody should get the insider look, the sneak peek, it's you, our dear librarian friends, who are always so supportive of our authors and our books. And so, this is fun. The further out we can go, we know you're excited, and so are we, because good God, we've talked about so many of the books that are coming out in a couple of months. So let's go a little bit further out and with some e-galleys and paper galleys. And Chris, do you want to say anything before we talk about some books?
Just hello, everyone. I see that Todd Kruger says we're the insiders, and that feels like I don't think about it that way, but I guess we are. So
wow,
we'll send out NDAs for everyone to sign. So because it's only for your eyes. No, I'm really excited. Fresh titles. I don't think we've presented probably any of these yet.
No.
So you're in for a treat.
So are we, because we don't even know what we're going to say. All right, why don't you guys kick it off?
Let's see, Lainey, you got one you want to talk about?
Let's see. Oh, did we mention the Edelweiss catalog? I don't know that we did that yet.
No spells no.
So what we have an Edelweiss catalog as a highlighted link on here. So anything we talk about, don't worry, you don't have to scribble it down very quickly. So I think it pretty much follows, we'll tell you what's the e-galley that's up, but I think the e-galley is like the last 4 or 5. So the top ones are physical galleys. And I don't know. Let's start with the first one. I'll talk about the Surrogate. Is that cool?
Yeah, cool.
Okay, let me pull it up. All right, you can see that. And then let's find what I'm going to say. Okay, so the Surrogate by Toni Helene. And this one is a good thriller for you, something fun and twisty. In this one, we have a cast of characters all surrounding, it's part of a family and then somebody on the outside, 2 people on the outside, but they're all revolving around a baby. So we have Ruth and her husband, Hal, and they're going to hire someone to have a baby for them because Hal had a previous marriage and he has 2 kids. Ruth comes in, she's this 40-something journalist, and she's really spent her whole life focusing on her career. So she wasn't really there to have kids. And then she met Hal. Hal may or may not have been divorced when they met, but now they're married, second wife. And she decided, well, now she wants a baby. So that should be easy. She'll just put everything on hold and have a baby. Well, not so easy. So they don't notice. They figure out they have to get a surrogate to have this baby for them. So then comes in Callie. She's 19 years old. She wants to go to college. She's kind of been put off of that, and she doesn't have the cash. She's going to come into this, have the baby for them. That arrangement sounds perfect for everyone. until Callie decides that maybe she doesn't want to give this baby up. And that's where the beginning of the book starts. She is leaving the hospital, jumping out the window, baby in hand. Her ex-boyfriend is there to meet her, and he is going to help her escape. So you kind of get to see this chase after this baby, and then you kind of get the feeling at the beginning that there's some secrets. Why does she want to keep this baby? Why is the family looking for the baby? So it's a really fun thriller, and there's a little bit of legal things in there as well, like because they get Callie to sign all this agreement without a lawyer that's not Hal, the husband. So there's a little bit of law stuff in there as well. And Toni herself, she's a discriminations and employment attorney and the co-owner and chief operating officer of a law firm. So that's kind of interweaved in there as well. And she really knows about that stuff. So that is The Surrogate by Toni Helene.
That was, it's so funny because when we sit around and lunch and we hear editors talk about these books, it's like, I want to read that, I want to read that, I want to read that. And that's great. That was great, Lainey. Now I want to read that.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's a physical galley. So
shall I go next? Christopher, would you allow me to go next?
Please.
Well, I'm really excited that we have another Wiley Cash book on the list. I know there are so many fans out there, and so are we. He is just a lovely man and an exquisite writer. This book is called When Ghosts Come Home. How about that jacket? Pretty cool. This is coming out in September, so this is fun to talk about this because now we have galleys, eGalleys. Lainey, P-galleys or just eGalleys? I can never remember. Both. Ooh, Andy.
Did you just say P galleys, like paper galleys?
I did. Why?
I like that. Yeah.
eGalleys.
eGalleys or P-galleys?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
will there be an A-galley, an audio galley? Do we know?
Ooh. We'll research that because oh my gosh, I can't imagine this. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Should we mention what is it? Advanced listener copy, ALC?
Very nice, Lainey. Go ahead.
Okay, so we have been talking. See, you're getting your insider knowledge today. We've been talking internally about what should we call these? Should we call them audio eGalley? Should we call them audio listening, whatever? Anyway, we've gone around and around, but I think we've decided on ALC, Advanced Listener Copy. So it is the full book. So it's just broken up and has watermarks. It's not going to change. So I hope that clears up anything. If you want to know how to get whitelisted on Edelweiss and NetGalley, I forgot the second one, NetGalley, just send me an email and we'll get you set up. It's pretty much the same process, but it's a little different on each platform. But it's really cool. I enjoy listening to some copies early and kind of help you double what you're listening and taking in.
Yeah, it is cool. It's a whole nother dimension. So yeah, and so as Lainey said, we have electronic galley, we have paper galley, and we'll find out about the audio galley, or was it, what do we call them? Listening, well, you know what I mean. Okay.
ALC.
ALC. I've torn my ALC. Okay. So this is coming out in September, and this is, A Land More Kind Than Home. Who hasn't read that book by Wiley Cash? This is The Last Ballad. Everything that Wiley has written. He's amazing. And so this is a story about set in 1984. It's getting fuzzy. Set in 1984 in North Carolina, which Wiley knows well. And this is about a sheriff who hears this massive boom one night, runs out, and there's a plane that's been that's crash landed, and it's sitting sideways on a runway, this airport. There's no sign of a pilot, and there's no sign of cargo. Something is definitely amiss. And then the body of a local man is discovered, and so now, of course, he's discovered shot dead, and he's lying in the grass near the crash site. And now there's a murder investigation to see what's going on here, and everybody in the town starts to become a suspect, including the dead man. So there are long simmering racial tensions here in this story in this town, and that I really think is at the core of this book. And the sheriff himself, he's got to investigate all these folks, but he's also got some ghosts in his own closet, and all these ghosts are coming home. That's the framework for this book. He also has this relationship with his daughter that is sort of fraught. He's got to confront her. She's come home and she's grieving this loss, and she's not really, she can't really articulate what it is. And so he's got a whole lot of things going on here. He's an eloquent writer, Wiley Cash. He's like, if you like Ron Rash, if you never read him, I strongly suggest that you go back and read some of his backlist. Land More Kind Than Home will just rock your world. He is a great Southern novelist. Think Ron Rash, Tom Franklin, Ernest Gaines. He just won not just, in 2019, he won the Conroy Legacy Award. He's the real deal. I hate when people say he's the real deal. I don't know, but he is. He's lovely, and he's a prolific and brilliant and complex writer. So I just want to read two quotes. I have a page of quotes here of raves for this author, but two that I think sort of sum it up really nicely. Lou Berney, who we love, who wrote November Road, and he is amazing. He says, when ghosts come home is a gripping mystery as complex and layered as the characters who inhabit it. Set in 1984, Wiley Cash's exploration of race, justice, and grief, of the fault lines that rip apart families and communities, could not be more timely. Ooh, see where we're going? And then Teresa Ann Fowler, author of many books, including Z, a novel about Zelda Fitzgerald, says, a treatise on race in America wrapped in a family drama, wrapped in a mystery. I mean, don't you just want to dive into this with a knife and a fork? It brings us a thoughtful examination of a good man's struggle to do right under trying circumstances. Cash puts his whole heart on the page with these flawed, true characters, and the reward is ours. The editor of all of Wiley's books is David Highfill, and we just had L.R. Dorn on the writing team. L.R. Dorn. I am blanking on that title.
Anatomy of Desire.
Thank you, Lainey. Anatomy of Desire, and that was also edited by David Highfill. And David is going to come back on Door to Door and interview Wiley Cash, and that is going to be quite the treat. So as soon as we have that date nailed down, I'll let you know. It's going to be so cool. Wiley is also going to be speaking at Day of Dialogue on May 6th, Library Journal's Day of Dialogue. So you might get a sneak peek there. But really excited about this book. It's not coming out till September. You can start to read it now. And you're going to be hearing a lot about this book. You're going to be hearing a lot from this author. It's a treasure to have him on our list. And he's a lovely man to boot. And that is Wiley Cash, When Ghosts Come Home. On sale September. We've got plenty of time.
Oh my, the comments for Wiley Cash on Facebook are numerous. I'm not sure I've seen so much outpouring of love for an author as what we're seeing here. So that is very cool. Yeah, very special writer. So, and Katie Stover says, remember when I read his tarot cards at ALA dinner?
Yes. That was so cool. And isn't he cool? And he has a great, you guys should be friends with him on Facebook, because he is so honest and just puts his heart out there, regardless of what the topic is. He's there, whether it's politics or state of the world, the White House, then, now, racial injustice, a beautiful essay that he wrote is posted on Facebook. So obviously you're on Facebook. Check out Wiley Cash's Facebook page and be his friend. And yeah, he's wonderful. Okay, who wants to talk next?
Maybe I should speak up.
Oh my
Okay.
God, yes, Chris, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No sorries. Oh, good here. I will be talking about a Harper Via title that I'm really enjoying, Olga by Bernard Schlink. So many of you are probably familiar with Harper Via. They publish oftentimes books and translations, but they're an internationally focused imprint that publishes special books that have wide potential readership. You might be familiar with Bernard from The Reader, which was an international bestseller. It was also a film starring Kate Winslet and Ralph Fiennes. I always want to say Ralph, and it's not, starring Ralph Fiennes. So this is a really cool follow-up. This is a historical epic, romantic epic. It was just really interesting insight into Prussian society at the turn of the 19th century and early 20th century. But it's all given weight through the main character, Olga, who is this young woman who was raised in this Prussian village. Both of her parents die at a very young, she's very young, poor family. And the opportunities, as we know, especially 100 years ago, plus, where you're born is often where you die as far as where you stand in society. But Olga is not, she's something special, and she befriends this aristocratic man, Herbert, who he kind of is this very brash, confident man. He's never really wanted for anything. He's the son of like a very, powerful aristocrat, but there's a romance that develops between these two. So you're kind of following their lives. Olga is kind of trying to become a teacher, despite, again, all the odds stacked against her. She's very smart and just kind of different. And the story is told basically in 3 parts, where the first is this, kind of distanced third-person narration of Olga's life. And then the second part is told through a young man who she came to care for later in her life, and he's kind of telling her story through his own eyes. And then the third is told as a series of interactions and letters between Herbert and Olga. So it's a really fascinating kind of globe-trotting epic as well. I mean, you go from Germany to Africa, all over the place. You witness, World War I, World War II. But again, it's all given weight through Olga's own story. And the writing, I mean, it's a book in translation, translated by Charlotte Collins, who's a very highly regarded award-winning translator. But yeah, the characters, I find it really fascinating. There's just something about the writing and the story and the sense of place that I just found wholly absorbing. It really took me by surprise. So yeah, again, I think there's going to be a lot of demand for this, just based on the previous novel, The Reader, being such a huge success. And it's really kind of like this, again, epic look at major events in history, weighted by unforgettable characters. So it has it all: romance, intrigue, adventure. Highly recommend. This is coming in September. So, and this is one, again, eGalleys available, Galley is available. Let us know. Highly recommend.
And he's going to be a speaker at Dave Dialogue. I don't know if you mentioned that.
I didn't. No, thank you for noting that.
You're welcome.
We have several Dave Dialogue people. We didn't even try to do that,
No.
but that's really funny. Okay, so I want to talk about White Ship by Charles Spencer. I love this cover so much. Okay, so Charles Spencer, he's pretty well known. He lives in the UK. He was on NBC's Today Show in the 90s. And he's written seven books. And this book is from our 360 imprint, or Harper 360. So a lot of books that we get imported in from the UK side come through this imprint. And this book has been well reviewed in the UK as a bestseller. So we kind of already know it's a big thing, and we get to kind of blow it out here. And this is gonna go, a little back in time, something I don't know anything about. This is in 1120, in the UK and Europe, other places in Europe, because it doesn't take place in the UK, but it has to do with King Henry I. And so after 4 years of fighting the French in 1120, he is on his way back home. He has his son, who will be his heir, William, and William is pretty spoiled and arrogant, and they are on a big party barge coming back from conquest, and they are ready to party all the way home. And so they're on two ships, one being the White Ship. It's considered the fastest afloat, and the heir, William, is on that ship on the way home. His father is not. And one night, after they've just been like giving all of the comrades and the crew drinks, and they're celebrating, one night in the middle of the night, a drunken helmsman rams it into a big thing of rocks, and so the ship is sinking. People are holding on for their lives. They're trying to swim ashore, and there's only one survivor of this whole big ship, the fastest ship alive. Not alive, it's not alive, but afloat. And so they now do not have a heir. The heir was on that ship, if you'll remember. And so now it's just this tragic and brutal story of everything that came after that. That was just kind of a turning point in a lot of war and rampage, and it becomes like this Game of Thrones sort of story for who's going to take over this new throne. King Henry I already got to the throne in a really unconventional way, and so he's trying to really hold on to that throne, and now his heir is gone. And it is really interesting because it goes, again, not something I really know much about, but I love learning new things. And it goes through this whole history of how they got to where they are, this Anglo-Norman society. There's Vikings, there's people coming into the Rhine to take over, and it has some stuff about Paris, and has stuff about all of the different countries that are in different shape than what you know right now. And so it really is this overarching story of gaining this kingdom and how to hold on to it, and then all the things that happened after this heir was no longer there. And this is the 900th anniversary on November 20th, which is the day after this goes on sale, the 900th anniversary of this wreck. And so it's just really, really interesting. It's good nonfiction. I know you guys are always looking for a good nonfiction, especially not a piece of history that a lot of nonfiction is about. So you can really dive in, no pun intended, on this book and learn all about this crew.
Sounds really good.
I love that. That's cool. Yeah. Nonfiction. We like nonfiction. I could do a nonfiction. Want me to go? Memoir. I talked about this book. I think it was, I don't know, midwinter. I don't know, but it's by Kate McDougall, and it's called the London's #1 dog walking agency. And this is very it's very sweet. It's sort of an inside look at all the different types of dog owners there are in London, as this woman takes on this. She creates her own job, her own company. She's just started this new position, and she had worked at Sotheby's, and something had happened there, and she just decided she got to get out of there. It was 2006, and there was a clumsy accident that took place and nearly destroyed this precious piece of art. And she said, I'm going to start a dog walking agency. Get out of here. And she didn't know anything about dogs. She just decided that this would be good for her. And good for her, because she learned a lot, and she watched a lot, and she studied people, and wrote this wonderful book. This is sort of it's a coming of age book in a way. And it's just this, it's a charming love letter. It's a love letter to London. It's a love letter to pet owners, especially those who own dogs. And it's, as I say, it's kind of a funny look at these well-heeled residents that hand their dogs over to her. So it's got great wit and great humor. Look at that. Doesn't she look so much happier than she would be handling some Ming vase and Sotheby's? Oh, can't even imagine. So anyway, what do I want to tell you about this? This will appeal to books like H is for Hawk and The Shepherd's Life. It's great for book clubs, for people who like, even British fiction like Ruth Hogan, for Anglophiles, for dog lovers, for just anybody who wants to read about somebody that's just said, I'm going to do something entirely different and let's see what happens. I do want to read this one. It's 2 sentences from the book because I just think that this says it all. So this is from the book. Aside from the odd biter or growler, the occasional bolter, and the one dog who didn't want to walk, the canines were the easy part. They were a muddy, messy joy in all shapes, sizes, and breeds, from greedy Labradors to pampered pugs and everything in between. It was the owners who were the real challenge, a giddy mix of the overprotective, the clueless, the eccentrics, and the perfectionists. There is no rule book on how to navigate the obsessions of the London dog owner. A degree in human psychology would have been far preferable to any sort of animal qualification. Not that I had either. Okay, that was more than 2 sentences, but so worth it. So you get it. And it's lovely. And there's great quotes. I have great quotes. Hang on a second. Where are they? I don't know. They're all over the place. Oh, Annie Lyons, who wrote The Brilliant Life of Eudora Honeysett, which please read that. The Brilliant Life of Eudora Honeysett by Annie Lyons. If you haven't read it, please do. This is what she says about this book. It made me laugh. It made me cry. It made me long for a dog. Incredibly moving, very funny, and wonderfully wise. This is a brilliant debut memoir and a beacon of hope when we need it most. I shall be recommending it to everyone I know, dog loving or otherwise. That is coming out in July. London's #1 dog walking agency, a memoir by Kate McDougall. Ruff. Who's next?
Right. Let's see. I will talk about Allison Galen's latest upcoming novel, which we're so excited about, The Collective. This is so good. So we're very excited to bring Allison Galen to hardcover again. This just has the makings of a big novel. She's so talented. She wrote Never Look Back. She won an Edgar Award for If I Die Tonight. She's been nominated for the Edgar several times, including What Remains of Me. She's just so good. And this is a really interesting setup where you have this grieving mother, Camille, who essentially 5 years ago, her daughter died under, to begin the book, mysterious circumstances. But what you do know is Camille is convinced that an acquaintance of her daughter, this kind of all-American boy who's now like the successful med student, she holds him responsible. And this kid has everything. He's never wanted for anything. And she's actually tracking him to this award ceremony at this prestigious school in New York. And that's where it starts the book. And essentially she sneaks into this award ceremony. She had accidentally mixed drink with pills. She takes anxiety pills, and she calls out this kid, calls him a murderer, and she's recorded, and it goes viral, and her life is kind of spiraling at that point. She runs a graphic design firm. Her clients are dropping her, separating themselves from her, but she's still convinced that this kid is to blame. And she is approached by a woman. She has no idea who she is, but this woman gives her a little card with not much info on it. It's just like a reference to a Greek myth. And what she comes to find is there's a group of mothers, this kind of secret collective of mothers who have experienced similar things, and they are beginning to plan and to plot and to put into action their own brands of justice. And Camille becomes involved with these people. And at first she is all about it. And then she starts to have misgivings. And all the while you kind of question where she is at mentally. So, it's definitely a timely book about, again, justice, female justice, what we can do when we take justice into our own hands. But it's very twisty, and I just think Camille's character development and how Allison slowly reveals the pieces and really keeps you guessing about, with this collective, what's right, what's wrong, what's true, who's telling the truth. It's very, very good. And I like this Megan Addick quote. Allison Galen's The Collective is an astonishing feat. It's a nerve-shredding, emotionally harrowing ride that also speaks volumes about our current moment, the dangers of our digital world, the potency of female rage. Don't miss it. Again, I think she's one of the best at it. So we're really excited about this. This is not coming out until November, but we want to give ourselves plenty of time to build the excitement. It's much deserved. So yeah, eGalley, P-Galley, Physical Galley, Phi Galley. I don't know. I want a new term for Galley. I feel like it needs it, but yeah, it's really, really good. So do check it out.
I'm seeing people really like the ALC advanced listener copy, so that's good feedback. Thank you. Let's see. Do we have any comments before? Oh, Annie Lyons, who Maureen Roberts said Eudora Honeysett was my favorite character in 2020, so I'll definitely check this one out, Virginia. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, I was muted. I just said, Maureen, you made my day. Thank you so much. That makes me very happy, which is a tall order these days. So thank you.
Okay, is it my turn? I think so.
It is. Wait, can I just go back? No, you go, Lainey. And I just want to there was the Tennessee Williams Literary Festival, which just took place. And you can catch Laura Lippman, Allison Galen, and I believe I'll check the whole list of speakers, but it's all up there now, and you can check it out. Anyway, it's very interesting. Okay.
Cool. Oh, and I wanted to mention when I talked about Charles Spencer before with White Ship, you can go to his Facebook page, and there's because the book's already out in the UK, he's doing a lot of press and stuff, and there's some really cool videos where he goes through all of this research and the story behind it. So I just wanted to shout that out because it's worth a listen. Okay, I'm going to stay in the thriller vein and the mystery vein, and we're going to talk about one of my favorites, Lori Raider Day. We all love her so much, and if you didn't read The Lucky One, that was her last book, and that was really good for anyone who wants to be an online sleuth. If you're an amateur online sleuth, this is the book for you. But I want to talk about her upcoming book in October, so you have a little bit as well, but galleys are out, so get some reads on it. And this is a little different for Lori. So if you don't know her, she is an Edgar Award nominated author, Mary Higgins Clark Award. She's been nominated and won so many awards. And she lives in Chicago, and she was the 2020 National President for Sisters in Crime. So she writes crime and mystery like no one else. We love her. And we did a really cool podcast episode with her and her editor for the last book. You should go check that out. I'll put the link in a second, but that was really cool to hear her and her editor speak. So in this new book, it's something different. It's got a historical kind of spin on it, and that's new for Lori. It's semi-based on this inspiring, fascinating, true story, but it's really spun out from there. But the real true part is that Agatha Christie had a summer holiday home. It was beloved, called Greenway House. And during World War II, she had their countryside. It took in the countryside in the UK, and so children were evacuated from the Blitz, and they went to stay there. And so that's where the premise starts. And then this book is about Bridie Kelly. She is coming to Greenway House because she's in training to be a nurse in London. The Blitz is happening. You can tell she definitely has something in her past she's hiding from. She's missing some family members, as a lot of people were back then, but you don't know why. There's such a mystery at the beginning. And she goes in to be this nurse. She's doing all of her studies, and then something happens. She gets in big trouble. Now she's extradited to Greenway House to take care of these 10 kids. And it's kind of seen as a punishment for her because she didn't do what she was supposed to. as a trainee, but she sees it as a way to really get back on top and prove that she can do it as she comes back. So she's not going to tell as many people about her misgivings. But she gets on the train, and so her name is Bridget, but she starts going by Britty because another nurse is there to help, also named Bridget Kelly. So they change names. She's going to be Britty, and nurse is going to be Gigi. And they're going to take these 10 kids, and they're going to take them to this beloved home of Agatha Christie, who is not in the entire novel, but she is seen throughout the house. There's a generous library full of mystery books, which sign me up. I would just go there for that. But she goes and she escapes to this kind of creepy house, and she's kind of getting back on top, and then all of a sudden a body washes ashore near the estate. And so they all quickly realize that this is not a victim of the war. This is a brutal killing. And who has done this killing? So there's a lot going on, and it's very different from Laurie. I love the historical aspect, but also it's like a recipe for an amazing book. You have Agatha Christie, you have World War II, you have a mystery. I mean, you can't go wrong. So this one's a fun one. And that's Death at Greenway, and it's on sale October 12th.
She's amazing. Her backlist is amazing too. A lot of people love The Lucky One. Under a Dark Sky, kind of locked room in a like dark sky park. So good as well. And
Yeah.
everything she does, brilliant.
Yeah. She's great. She's great. I mentioned before about the Tennessee Williams New Orleans Literary Festival. Again, you can go on this now that it's passed. You can check it out. But there was a really cool panel that featured Laura Lippman, Allison Galen, and Megan Abbott, and it's called The Art of Having a Good Crime. And it was really interesting to listen to them. Thank you, Vicki Nesting, for giving me the heads up about that. It was a really interesting conversation about their books, and how much it's hard to talk about a mystery book, and so a mysterious book. But they did, and it was really interesting to hear how they talk about their own books, and then at the end they talked about other books that they're reading, and so that was really interesting. I was jotting down a lot of stuff, but anyway, if you have a second, it's a really cool conversation. This is a panel at the I'll see if I can tag it or post it.
I think I have the link to it because they shared it on YouTube.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I'm going to go ahead
yeah.
and put that in the comments section
Thanks.
here.
Yeah, it's called The Art of Having a Good Crime. Really cool conversation. Thank you, Chris. All right. Shall I talk about a book? Okay. How are we doing? 23 already. Dear Lordy. Okay, that's okay. Black Girls Must Die Exhausted by Jane Allen. This book is coming out in August. How cool is that jacket? This is the first of an Own Voices trilogy about a young Black woman on track to create the life that she's always wanted, and then all of a sudden she gets some really sort of devastating news, and it's about her fertility issues. And so it's sort of, she feels like she has everything sort of lined up. She's got the job, she got the boyfriend, he's good husband material, and now she gets this devastating news, and she relies on her friends to get her through this terrible curveball that's been thrown her way. This is, as I say, this is the first of three. What's in the read itself is just fantastic. She self-published this, and to great acclaim. I mean, if you can go on Goodreads and read, the love for this book, and for these characters, the same characters are recurring in the other two books in the trilogy. And then we also have another book that's going to be coming from her standalone. So Jane Allen's an amazing person. She studied engineering at Duke and law at Harvard. Look her. I've not met her yet, but I can't wait to, because she's watch her on video. It's just like, my God, she's just absolutely amazing. and she's written this terrific series and these great characters. It's in paperback. It's got a hardcover library edition that will be coming out at the same time. It's under Harper Perennial. It's their major book for the season. Their major summer read. What else can I tell you? It's great for readers who are hungry for books that reflect their own experience and viewpoints. Let's see, I have a couple of quotes here. Kirkus says, Allen writes in a sharp, lively voice that is full of warmth and humor, touching on issues of professional womanhood, race, and family. The author crafts a novel that is both timely and enjoyable. So you're going to be hearing a lot about this author and this series, and much more to come. This is a big book for us. So yeah, this is all about sisterhood, womanhood, friendship, getting through it together. Black girls must die exhausted. That is Jane Allen, and it's coming in August. Ta-da. With 15 minutes left to go.
I think we're
we
into
have-
the e-galleys now, like
Yep.
the ones that are. Yeah.
Okay. I think we each have one more book to go. Right?
I have two, but we'll be good. 4 titles. We have 4 books left to talk about. So
Schmeh.
yeah, got this.
Give me a bag of shells.
Yeah, let's see here. So I will talk about a literary horror genre mashup. So that's music to my ears. I don't know about you. Reprieve by James Hahn Matson. So, like I said, this is kind of social critique wrapped up in a horror novel that takes place in Lincoln, Nebraska. And in this town, there's this infamous Quigley house, which is this full contact horror house where if you get to the end, you win money. You win a substantial cash prize. There's a series of rooms. And if you get through all of them without saying the safe word, which is reprieve, you win a bunch of money. Thing is, again, this is full contact. It's completely traumatic and terrifying. But you follow a cast of characters who are in some way or another involved with this horror house. And the main ones are a young woman, Kendra, who is suddenly kind of been displaced. She's from like a city, and her father suddenly dies, so she moves to this small town and ends up working as kind of like a parking attendant at this place, and she befriends the owner, who's this kind of very mysterious, enigmatic guy who's he's famous, but for kind of all the wrong reasons. You follow her. You follow this man who he is a hotel receptionist kind of guy. He's an older guy. He's been dating. He's kind of like desperate and lonely, but he starts to listen to some of these kind of masochistic, women-hating podcasts and speakers, and really develops this very toxic relationship with himself. And it's a really fascinating character study as you're following him, and you're not sure exactly how he's going to play into this book until something happens. And then you also follow JD, who's a gay international student from Korea, who's, again, in Lincoln, Nebraska. This is late 90s, and he's trying to find himself. And he ends up competing along with 4 other contestants in this Quigley house. And basically what happens is you don't know who, but a man breaks into this house and kills one of the contestants. And you don't know who died. You don't know who commits the crime, but you slowly start to break down who is where and why and when. And again, it's just a really fascinating setup. He's also the author of The Lost Prayers of Ricky Graves, James, which he critically acclaimed. There's this great quote from Kiese Lehman. Reprieve is an eventual American classic that is unrelenting in its beauty and incisive cultural critique, but it is James Hahn Matson's treatment of his fully flawed characters that clutches my heart and head. Every room in this book has a secret room. Every character has a shadow trying to swallow them whole. I'm not sure there is fearless American writing, but a few times a generation, there is an innovative writing that appears to confront, shred, and accept the fears of its author and its readers with a wicked joy. Reprieve is that book. It really is. Heck of a quote, and I wholeheartedly agree. So really fascinating, again, character study, one of a kind type of book. So coming October 5th. That's Reprieve by James Hahn Matson. I'm not sure I did a good job of like describing that story, but it's all in the read. So do go check it out. I love it. So yeah, 2 thumbs up.
It's so hard. Sometimes books, like we were talking before, it's like when there's so much in a book and you're not really sure which direction to go in. It's just, I thought you did a great job. I mean, I think it's, I think whatever speaks to you, what comes out is what needs to be said. Like that's the part that spoke to you. And so that's all the valid bits.
Yeah, I just thought that like the inspection of snowballing toxic masculinity was so on point and terrifying at the same time. Like an otherwise gentle guy who's just like frustrated and just finds reprieve in all the wrong places. It's really interesting, but every character has something they bring, and it's just, yeah, it's awesome. I love this book. So
that's cool. That's really cool, Chris. Lainey.
Shall I go?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. So these few are books that are brand new eGalleys, and we talked about this one in particular. We told everybody on Twitter. This is our lead read for fall 21. And this is All Her Little Secrets by Wanda M. Morris. We love this book. It's so exciting. It's our first trade paperback original on the lead read list. If you don't know what lead read is, where have you been? No, I'm just kidding. But it's a program, the sales force at Harper, we all get behind a book for the season that we're going to support. And we think is just going to be super popular. And this one is the fall one. And so, okay, All Her Little Secrets. So this is so twisty and very original. So excited for you guys to read it. It is about a Black lawyer in Atlanta, and she comes into work. This is like the first page, so I'm not giving anything away. She comes into work early to meet her boss, and she gets there before everybody else, walks in, her boss is dead on the ground. She's freaking out, and you don't know why at the beginning. Why is she freaking out? Besides that he is dead, she's also freaking out because she's thinking, how am I going to get out of here? How am I going to not be in the same room when the cops get here? And so she runs to her desk and the cops come, and now she's like, okay, well, that was close. This is terrible. What happened? And the other layer to that is her boss. She was having an affair with him. So she knows that she's going to be suspect number one. But then you also have to wonder why she was so in a hurry. Like she keeps saying things are in her past. And so the book unravels from there. You get to know her from when she was a kid. It goes in between scenes when she was younger, living in a small town called Chillicothe in Georgia, and her present day, where she has this brother who can't seem to kind of get his life together. He is kind of doing some sketchy things on the outside, and he's always just coming to her for money. She's kind of got out of that really toxic environment they grew up in. She has a woman who was like a mom to her, a grandmother to her, who is in the nursing home. So she's taking care of her. She's dealing with a lot of secrets from her past that are coming. And all of a sudden now she is thrust into her boss's old job. And unfortunately at this company, no one looks like her in the boardroom. Like either female or she's also Black. She just does not look around and see anyone that looks like her in this boardroom. And the not so subtle, I guess, comments about that come at her. So she quickly realizes that the people protesting outside every day for fair treatment at this company, that's just not outside. It's also happening at the very, very top. And her boss might have known that. So she uncovers a secret that hides with that. People are uncovering secrets from her past. There's just so much happening in this book. And I agree, Chris, it's really hard because you're like, there's so many great things in this book. And it's a debut, and it does not read like a debut. And Wanda worked in law, so she knows that world. I don't know if I said that. She works as a corporate lawyer, and the company is a transportation company. So Wanda knows that world really well, and I think it does a good job of highlighting tokenism and talking about code switching and how you are kind of straddling the throes of success with also being achieving equality in your workplace. I don't know. I just rambled, but I love this book so much.
Yeah, that's oh my God, Lane, I feel like I just read it all over again. It's so great, and it's like, and it's been comped to the firm, which is a huge compliment. I mean, and it's just like, back when I read it, I thought this can't be a debut. There's no way. It just feels so easy. Like it feels like I don't know, there's an ease of the writing in it, but it's not, but it's layered and twisty. You've got to pay attention. And there are a lot of issues that are addressed at this thing, and you really feel for this character. You really do. Yeah, it's hard to know when to stop talking about this book, because it is just so good. So, and it's we were thrilled to find out that this made the lead read. Just thrilled. That was really, really cool. So
Amy Gentry. Oh, I'm sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
Oh, I did we mention Day of Dialogue?
No, not yet.
no, sorry. Go ahead.
She will be at Day of Dialogue. Yeah.
Lisa Holstein says, I hope she's in. She's supposed to be on the mystery panel, which Lisa is moderating.
Lisa is moderating. That's exactly right.
We can confirm, Lisa, yes. Amy Gentry said, Wanda Morse is the sharpest new voice in thrillers today, and I'm hooked. That's a good quote. Yeah. And also, I think we've said this, but the back and forth between her childhood scenes, I think some people can kind of get, it has to be done well, but you really do feel for this little kid that just is going through all these terrible things. But yeah, you're really rooting for this character to make it out on top. So
I love that jacket. I know I've said it before. Can you guys show the jacket again just for a second? Look at that reflection in the glasses. It's just like, oh, I just want to pick her up, hold her, the whole thing. She's tough. She's a tough kid, and she has a guardian angel. She really does. So she's strong. Yeah, can't wait for everybody to read it. Tell us what you think. All right. I will quickly tell you about Nice Girls by Catherine Dang, D-A-N-G. We have the jacket up. Yep. This is a cool book. This is love this jacket. So much back and forth on this jacket. This is a debut author, Catherine Dang, a Vietnamese American author, who's from Minnesota, where everybody's supposed to be nice. And this book is about the tension between who we are versus who we are expected to be. So it's about growing up. It's novel growing up in Liberty Lake, Minnesota, and Mary, the woman at the center of this book, was very, very chubby, very awkward, and and very smart. And she earns a scholarship to an Ivy League school. That's her ticket out. And she excels there until her last year. Something happens and she gets the boot, and now she comes back home. She's working at a local grocery store. Now there's this local girl who Olivia, who is this rising social media star, and she and Mary were friends, way back when, starting in childhood, but they sort of went their separate ways, hadn't spoken in years. And now Olivia has gone missing. And everyone is concerned, and Olivia was this social media rising star, but Mary knows that Olivia wasn't all that great. So she, everybody's, canonizing Olivia, and Mary's like, she hates her. And so there's the image, and then there's what's happening. And so that's the premise of the book. Where did this woman go? What happened to her? There's another woman who's gone missing, a 19-year-old girl who's gone missing. What happened to her? And Mary starts to look into the lives of these missing girls, and painful secrets come back to haunt. And the the tagline here is that maybe no one is really a nice girl after all. There's a terrific behind the book essay by the author talking about when she was a kid and she used to read and she used to work in her, she would be in her parents' store and she was a kid and write books and she always wanted to write. It's really charming. And then there's also a behind the piece book by the editor talking about a bit about what it was like to find this manuscript and how excited she was for it and how excited we are to publish it. So it's a 75,000 announced print. It's coming out in September. It's a great psychological thriller, but there's got great commercial read, but there's a lot going on in here. It's really about women that are put up on a pedestal, by families and society and how they're supposed to be and how they really are. And the weight of the expectations that are on them. So Nice Girls, Catherine Dang, September. Gonna be cool. Really exciting. Okay. We just have a couple minutes left. Are we finished with all of our? Oh, I'm sorry. Sea State, of course. Chris.
Okay, let's see. And yeah, lots of love for these books and also the jackets. And speaking of jackets, I adore this jacket treatment. Love it. So this is a memoir, beautifully written this is Sea State by Tabitha Lastly. Tabitha was a journalist for 10 years, and this is her memoir about and she's in her mid-30s, and she decides to quit her job at a London magazine and basically pour all her savings into doing the 6-month lease at this apartment in Aberdeen, Scotland. And what she's doing is what she sets out to do is to inspect the world of men. And in this case, I don't think there's a more concentrated group of, men being men than oil rig workers, which is a really interesting world, bars, brawls, competition. And it's also kind of one of the few remaining jobs where it's a working class job that offers, high pay, opportunity to really, secure a good living. But what she didn't expect is to kind of become the subject of her own story. Again, she wanted to just kind of see what it meant to be a man in a man's world, to be a working class man when things are changing so rapidly. But she becomes part of the story. She begins an affair with a rig worker, and she kind of just loses herself to the story. And I think really what drew me in was just the writing. It's really lyrical and beautiful writing, but it's also very honest. Look, she doesn't pull punches in her own inspection of herself, while again looking at a really interesting subset of society. Really, I was really struck by the beauty of the writing. This was critically acclaimed upon its publication in the UK. Looking here, Ida Edermariam, who wrote The Wife's Tale, says Tabitha Lastly throws herself into a dangerous liminal world and crawls back battered, chastened, bearing a hull glittering with insight, brilliantly propulsive. I think that sums it up nicely. This is coming in December. This was a lead read finalist. I think most of you are probably familiar with our lead read program. If you're not, it's again where we vote on one title each season that we really want to get behind. So this was one of the finalists, and I think deservingly so. Just a really fascinating, unique memoir with a great jacket, which helps, but come for the writing. Or come for the jacket, stay for the writing. Whatever you want to do, just
Oh my
read
God,
it.
that's such a great line. I love that. Come for the jacket, stay for the writing. Chris.
Hey, there you go.
That's a bumper sticker, man.
There we go.
I love
Bumper
that.
sticker, t-shirt, whatever you guys need, let me know. Casey Davis said she studied in Aberdeen, Scotland for a summer.
Oh, nice.
I think we need a memoir, Casey. So yeah, that is all the titles now that we have.
Right, Lainey, yep. Wow, we did good. It's 3:01. Pretty cool. Nice not to have to rush. Just to remind you again, on Tuesday, we're going to have Laura Lippman, dream author. She is a dream girl. Well, she's a dream woman, and she's written Dream Girl. And Kate White, author of The Fiancé and many other books. We're so excited to have both of them on. They'll each have a half an hour to talk about their books. Really, both sort of like very, sort of psychological, twisty sort of what is happening here. So Lars is about this novelist who's found himself in a hospital bed, and he's kind of dependent on these two women. One's kind of sketchy. He's not so sure about the assistant either. And lots of creepy things are happening. And he's kind of drugged up, so he's not sure if he's real or imagined. And in that Tennessee Williams panel I was mentioning before, Laura talks about, yes, of course, think of Misery, but also she does a tip of the hat to Philip Roth. So can't wait to talk to her about that. And Kate White's book, The Fiance, is really cool about this couple and the husband's 9-year-old son, and they're from Manhattan. They go off to Pennsylvania to have this big family reunion, and the husband's brother is there, and he's always a bachelor, and now he's got this woman with him, and the wife of the couple, she's like, oh, I know you, and she's like, no, you don't. She's like, ugh. And then some bad stuff happens, and all of a sudden the fiance has a story. So I think we've talked a lot about books that have ghosts in the closet today. It's kind of fun, Well, if we had a theme song, we'd take it out and say, oh, thank you. Whoa, I'm sorry, Lainey. Go.
Okay. Just quickly reminding everybody about our Instagram takeovers every Friday. This week, very exciting. Eloisa James is going to take over. Tell us all about the new book, Wild Child. So 1 to 4 Eastern, you can come see posts, but you can always check it out throughout the day. But that's when the post will go up. And yeah, Harper Library on Instagram, and you'll see everything. You'll get all the updates. So join us then.
Are there any questions or comments that we need to address, or are we pretty good? I am not on Facebook right now.
I think just a lot of love. I think we got to everything.
Cool.
Yeah. So thanks
That was
everyone
fun.
for joining. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, let's see. I'm just trying to pull up a song. I'd be.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
While you do that, don't forget Day of Dialogue, all of our great authors that are going to be there. What's that day again? May
6th.
6th. So yeah, super exciting. And you
We'll
can
post-
start downloading eGalleys and get ready.
Yeah. Well, in the recap, we'll post the link to Day of Dialogue, and then you'll have that. Chris, did you find a song to take us out?
Let's try this. Okay.
I'm very excited. Thank you everyone for watching today. We miss you. Happy to have you in our vibe.
Hey, it's Virginia Stanley here with.
Well, yeah, you have to explain that to them.
So that was the intro song to our Got a Minute video series, which we did literally right before I think the pandemic hit. So
we had no minutes.
Buzz in 1 minute. So that was audio pulled from Virginia's Buzz, a Good Marriage by Kimberly McRae. But
that is hilarious. Chris, maybe could you put the link in there? Oh my God, this is the funniest thing. So you have to put that link in there so you can see all three of us. So that wacky music that Chris, how much did you pay for that? Like $12, that music? To like get us juiced up to talk about books. Yeah, you got to put that up there because it's pretty funny.
It's really funny because that's in like our lobby at work. And so like all these people were going to fill their coffee cups, and we're over there like, you got them.
Dank. Oh yeah. And they're like, oh, what are they doing?
Yeah, I'm never dancing on camera again. Right?
Oh, I thought you did real well. I think.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
we learned that no one pays us any attention anymore because they're just like, whatever
our
they're
heads
doing.
would have been on fire, and they would have been like, okay. So anyway, yeah. That's very true, lady. Anyway, that's very funny. So I think that's it. Watch for the recap. We'll throw a few links in there, but I guess Chris, were you able to find it? Put the link in there in the chat now, so you can watch that crazy thing.
Yeah.
Also, you know what? I do also want to mention Katie Stover. She's still watching. Katie Stover did an interview with Women Who Invented Television author. We had her on. This was with Kansas City Public Library, and it was a fabulous. This Katie, is she still there? Oh my God, it was such a fabulous interview.
Katie, if you're there, let us know.
If you are interested in women behind, really sort of behind the scenes, and some who weren't behind the scenes, behind the screen, on the screen, in sort of the advent of television, when men were like, it's all about radio, and yeah, do whatever you want because TV is too expensive and no one's going to buy these things. It's a fabulous book. And when women invented television, which went on sale March 23rd. The author is Jennifer Keeshan Armstrong, and it was a terrific interview. So Kansas City Public Library, if you go to their website, you really learn a lot about these really influential women who really had a real effect on television and on specifically on women in television. And it's right, you guys. I mean, we had such a great interview with this author as well. But Katie really did a wonderful job, and I can't stress it enough. This author is the author of Seinfeldia. And just go check it out if you can. Or of course you can go and watch our interview with her on Facebook Live. But Katie, hats off to you wherever you are. You did a great job with that. Couldn't stop watching it. And Jennifer Keeshan Armstrong, they had a terrific connection. And she's got a ton of books behind her. The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Mary and Lou and Rhoda and Ted, so much. Sex and the City, she's amazing. Knows so much. Check it out.
Cool. I posted a link to the Kansas City Public Library event for
To
those
the
who are
interview?
watching. Yes. Yeah. So that is
Really
up.
good. Really great. So.
And I put a Day of Dialogue link in there for you guys.
Oh, great. Okay. One-stop shopping. All right. Well, I think that's it. So nobody has anything else to say, I guess we'll say adieu.
Sylvia says this is a Midwest goodbye, and I love that.
That's so funny. Better than an Irish exit where it's like, where did Fearnan go?
We can't
I
leave
can
you
say that.
guys.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Now we're really saying goodbye. This is 3:09. We good?
Okay. I think
All right.
we're good.
Miss you guys.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye all.